Welcome back, everybody, to your stimulus update for today. Not much going on, but a few things to report on. Nancy Pelosi did give a statement today about the future stimulus bill and stimulus payments. I'm going to tell you what she said. Also, I'm going to give you my thoughts on Ruth Bader Ginsburg, what her death means for the negotiations for the next stimulus bill, and a little bit of a timeline on what to expect in the next couple of weeks. Once again, welcome back to your stimulus update for today, Monday, September 21st. Let's go ahead and start off with the statements that Nancy Pelosi made today about the next stimulus bill and next stimulus payment. We already know that the Problem Solvers Caucus came out with a $1.5 trillion bill that actually goes over $2 trillion with the qualifiers. Nancy Pelosi has dismissed it, saying it's not enough. I don't know why. It's very close to her bill and her deal. She obviously wants to move higher on the numbers, and she gave a statement about her thoughts on it today. This is from today, a quote from Nancy Pelosi today. "We have to meet their needs, not give the president a chance to just say, 'I'm going to put my name on a check.' Send it out. And don't talk to me about food, rent, first responders, healthcare workers, the virus, or anything else." That's all he wants, is his name on a check that goes out. So here's the problem with that statement, at least in my opinion. A $1.5 to over $2 trillion compromised bill, which President Donald Trump is in favor of, he likes that bill, he actually has pretty much stated it, is not just a sign-off of a check. That's not all it is. It includes $450 a week unemployment boost. It includes $400 to $500 billion for state and local aid. It includes $105 billion for schools. It includes billions and billions of dollars for more small business loans and grants. It includes money for research, for hospitals. Isn't that enough? Isn't something better than nothing? I wish somebody would just ask Nancy Pelosi this question. Oh, wait a second. They already did.
The administration has sent signals, they weren't very subtle, saying they're interested in something like that $1.5 trillion compromise, which would have, as I understand it, $450 a week, not $600, but $450 a week for people, at least for 8 weeks, and also would have $500 billion for the states, not the $900 you asked, but not the $100 that the Republicans have said. Isn't something better than nothing?
No.
So clearly you can see that Nancy Pelosi doesn't think that this bill is worth it. It's something isn't better than, and this is not just a small something. That compromised bill is a big something. It includes everything we want. And matter of fact, in some ways it's better than her bill because it includes a guaranteed stimulus check for the American people. But then with the qualifiers, you might get a second or a third stimulus check, which would be wonderful for the things that Nancy Pelosi is saying. Rent, first responders, healthcare workers, they could all use that. That's helpful for, during the pandemic and the virus. But of course, she disregards it. I really think she's playing politics. In my mind, that's what I think is going on. She doesn't want a stimulus check or payments or small business help or healthcare help or school help to go out right now before the election because it's going to look too good for Donald Trump. So basically, she's going to hold her ground. Now, if I were Donald Trump, and I'm not, I would just call her at her game. I would just let it happen. Go up to the $2.2 trillion. Who cares? Flood the money out to the economy, get the American people the money they need. And basically, I think that's probably the last thing Nancy Pelosi would even want you to do. I don't think he can do it because it's not really Donald Trump's decision. It's the Senate Republicans you have to deal with and the House Republicans, although the House Republicans don't really matter as much, but the Senate Republicans. So you can't just do whatever you want. You got to compromise somewhere. And that's why this Problem Solvers Caucus bill, $1.5 to a little over $2 trillion, is really good. But Nancy Pelosi's statement today, not so good. Let's talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Obviously, she did pass away over the weekend, and although this is not directly related to the stimulus, it does indirectly affect the stimulus. And so my opinion, it is a negative impact on the stimulus for one reason and one reason only. It raises the tension level between Republicans and Democrats. Right now, we don't need the tensions up. We don't need something else distracting them and taking up their time and their thought process. So now, all of a sudden, we had this stimulus bill become the the forefront of the news in the last week and a half. And what has happened is the new Supreme Court justice is now superseded that. And that's going to cause tension and all kinds of arguing and fights. And what's going to happen is the stimulus is going to draw into the background. People are going to start to forget about it. It's not going to become a big news story. And that overall is not a net positive for stimulus. Hopefully, they can separate the two and separate their tensions with each other between those two issues. But, we're dealing with politicians, so I highly doubt it. With that said, what should we be looking for? In this week, it is now Monday as I'm reporting this to you. In this week, we need to look for negotiations to start back up between Steven Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi. And there's already some of that going on a little bit, like a phone call and stuff like that. And we need to see them working on a new bill. We need to see good negotiations, bill happening. Next week, we need to see a bill happen. There's got to be something written down. Remember, this Problem Solvers Caucus is just a proposal. It is not a bill. They got to put a new compromise one together. Nancy Pelosi has got to budge off the $2.2 trillion. She's got to. If she doesn't, it's basically done. If she can't get off the 2.2, if she can't even go to 2, just 2, it's basically over. I don't see how the Senate Republicans are moving up to $2.2 trillion. Hopefully, she will come to her senses and do that. But if we can just get some sort of a compromise between the 1.5 and the $2.2 trillion bill, I think Donald Trump will be good with it. I think Steven Mnuchin will be, and I think that will be enough to turn over enough Senate Republicans to get this thing done. But we're looking for negotiations this week. We're looking for a bill sometime next week. If we get a bill, we're golden. If Nancy Pelosi agrees to a new bill at $2 trillion, between $1.5 and $2 trillion, we are good as gold. If she's willing to agree with it, I think the Republicans already are. At least enough of them are. Not all of them. Some of them hate any sort of a bill. So that's what you should be looking forward to. Those are the only really important things. Remember, all facts, no hype. You guys make the decision. I think this week we're sort of moving in a negative direction as far as the stimulus is occurring, but it's still, it's not gone or anything. It's not a lost hope or anything. We're just dealing with politicians who do what they do and they argue about things and they move off to different subjects and they don't get the job done for the American people. I don't know. Term limits is a thing. I'm going to work. I'm talking to a lot of my coworkers. I think term limits need to happen. Somehow we got to get legislators not to be in there for decades, because these people have been in there for decades. And you know what happens when they're in there for decades? The people reach themselves into their pockets and they're reaching themselves into other people's pockets, and there's strings tied to everybody. If we can only have them in there for a few years, then that won't happen, because I'm getting a little upset with the way that they're treating the American people, and I'm sure you are as well. I will continue to keep you guys updated the best that I possibly can, and hopefully share a little bit more positive news with you maybe tomorrow or the next day, depending on the negotiations and the state of a new bill, not just a proposal, a new bill to hopefully hit the House floor within the next couple of weeks so we can get something signed, sealed, and delivered by October 2nd. If we don't, that's not terrible. It's not over, because Nancy Pelosi said she's going to remain in session until something gets done. We'll see if she sticks to her word, but even then, she might just remain in session and do nothing. I know it's not all positive today, but I hope you guys appreciate the information and just the straight up facts telling you what is going on. As always, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, consider subscribing. I would love to have you come along with me. Once again, I will catch you guys next time.